Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
And we are live.
Yay!
All right.
Yeah. John is driving.
Yep.
See how this works out. You know, okay, I have to say, I do not get, why is it that everyone's profile picture on every social media site is them strapped into the driver's seat of a car? Have you?
I haven't noticed that.
Okay,
I haven't either.
Now you will. There are like so many people that's like either their profile picture. If you like see any of their photos or anything, they have like all these selfies of them like sitting behind the wheel of their car, strapped in. I do not get it.
I think you must just have weird social media contacts.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just me.
Like a lot of mine are like people flexing.
Well,
So
yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
I like it how Skype is like on some Skype forces you to take a picture right then. Like it doesn't let you. I forget what it is. Like maybe it's on the mobile version of Skype. It like doesn't let you use a photo from somewhere else, or you've got to set if you install Skype on the device, you have to take a picture.
Nice. Well, maybe people are installing it at stoplights then, and they just, or they're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I've seen those commercials for the Google Pixel, right? Take a selfie. Take a selfie. Take a selfie.
All right. Chuck, are you at home right now?
I am at home.
Right.
Balance the light a little bit better. I don't know. Oh.
So what's been going on?
It's gonna be one of those shows, I see.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I can go first.
I'll go ahead.
So I have now sponsorship to go to NG Atlanta. So I'm going to the conference. The conference organizers are helping me set up interviews for the podcast /YouTube. I've got a company paying my travel. They gave me the ticket for free. So, and they're going to list me as a media partner.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So I just need to figure a few things out as far as recording it, but I've got a couple of different options for actually recording the video. I can do it on my phone. I can do it with, I've got another camera here. I'm kind of tempted, depending on how much they cost, to get a DSLR camera, just because what they paid me for my travel, I found a website. It's called upside.com, and they actually can get me to Atlanta and back and have me a place to stay there in a hotel, not the conference hotel, but a hotel that's nearby for about half of what I thought it'd cost me. And so since it's going to save me about $900, I figure I can spend a few $100s on a DSLR camera.
That sounds like one of those deals where like some guy in a van picks you up and he's like, yeah, get in. Come on. We gotta go. I'm delivering some dogs later today. I'm dropping off some dogs, and so we'll have to make a little bit of a pit stop here. And then he's like, yeah. Okay, so we're this is where we're gonna stay tonight. The campsite is kind of nice, but there's a lot of vagrants, so you got to kind of stay within the realm here. Well, I'll be setting up the fire in a little bit, so don't worry. It'll be all right. You'll be warm.
No, yeah. I mean, the hotel that they listed was a Marriott hotel. The flights were on American or United. I usually fly Delta because I get the frequent flyer miles, but dang, if they're going to save me that much money, I'll fly on another airline.
Yeah, definitely.
So, so pretty happy with that. And I'm talking to some companies now about sponsoring a couple other conference trips. And I'm asking for a little bit more on those, so we'll see how all of that works.
Well, and just use this now. Say, show, like, if they're listening to you as a media partner, then use that screenshot and like when you pitch it, just be like, this, so that they see that other people are doing this.
Yeah.
So
well, this is now officially a thing, right? So,
Yep.
Oh, you don't want to do this just like these other conferences? Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that so there's another conference. So this conference is January 30th through February 2nd, and then there's another conference February 3rd through the 7th in Oakland, and they are willing to do the same thing. I just need to figure out how to get out there. So I'm working on that. I think it'll be a lot easier to land these if I can identify the conferences I want to go to, and if I can say, look, I'm going to do videos like these and show them the ones that I do from the conference. So
yeah.
You need a page. You need like a sponsorship page that talks about this as an option.
Yeah, I do. So
depending on the amount, it might hiring a professional videographer to just come out for the day and shoot the video and the interviews, and then
that's a possibility.
Probably like in San Diego, he was charging me like $350 for a day. So, depending on where you're at. I mean, if you have someone that's dedicated that flies with you, then it probably would be more expensive. But if you can find a local person for those events, that might be a good way to go too.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, these two conferences are in Atlanta and Oakland, so I should be able to find people there.
Yeah.
NG Conf is another one that I'm looking at doing, and the nice thing there is that I'll charge the same fee, but I'm sleeping in my own dang bed. So
right, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, it should be interesting to see how it all goes. But I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna make these sponsors happy. I'm gonna do everything I can to make them happy, and then see if I can make this pay off for some of the other events. I'm pretty excited about it, though. I mean, I get to go to the conferences, which is fun. I get to interact with all these people who are in these communities, and then I come away with a whole bunch of content that I can use for a bunch of different things, and I get to travel. I mean, it's just anyway.
Nice. Well, yeah, and once you get a couple of these under your belt, you're gonna be able to make some decent money with them too. So
yeah, I think so. Well, especially with it's kind of interesting because some of these shows are bigger than others, and some of these sponsors drop a ton of money to sponsor them.
Right.
And so, if they have something, it's like, look, I'm going to give you the videos. You can put them on your YouTube channel. You can put them on your social media. You can use the clips in your Facebook ads and whatever, right? And anyway, so I think that'll work out pretty well. The headline sponsor for the other conference in February is Oracle, and I don't know how easy it is to bust up the ranks of Oracle and get somebody's attention. But I have they're one of the things that they're doing is they're highlighting AI for 2 or 3 days of the conference, and so I have contacts with a couple of AI companies that either do AI or provide infrastructure for AI, and so I think I can make that work too.
Skynet.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm pretty excited about all of that, and then just working on filling sponsorship spots, and I reached out to a whole bunch of sponsors that things hadn't gone the most smoothly for, and basically said, hey, look, if you sign up, the first however much, $1,000 or whatever is on me, and then after that, it'll just charge you regularly, so or charge you normally. So so I'm hoping to get some of those to come through. And I've got to start poking JetBrains in the head because they've got an episode coming up in a week or two, and I still don't have any banners from them.
Oh.
You have, so is this, did you set up recurring billing with this, Chuck? So they,
No.
okay. So you're still invoicing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, I'm not invoicing. I take it back. So what I'm doing is I am, I send them to a page where they can pick the placements they want, and then they just pay for them up front.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I got you. Okay.
And so then I just go back and periodically say, hey, your sponsorships, are almost up. Do you want to renew?
You need to just have a checkbox on there that's checked by default. It says
Yeah.
weekly.
Yeah, it could be kind of like
time.
don't let anyone else take my spot type of thing. You know what I mean? So that you plant the fear of someone else taking your spot.
That's a good idea. I mean, what I'd like to do, one of the things that I'd like to build in, and I may do some of this between Christmas and New Year's, because I figure that's a good time to do some of this software development, because the only other thing that I have coming up that I need to work on then is scheduling appointments for CES. Selling sponsorships during that time is just hard because a lot of people are out. So I figure I can add some of those features in and just send some of those reports. Hey, look, here's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just see if I can make some of that come together so that, they get the report every week. Hey, you sponsored this episode. Here's the number of downloads, blah, blah, blah. And then here are your upcoming, spots. And it looks like you're only sponsoring the next 2 weeks of Ruby Rogues. You may want to grab these other spots before one of your competitors does.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
So then it just comes in on the report.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of where I'm looking at there. But
yeah, that reporting will be killer.
I honestly think
gonna love that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge selling point for sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they want the ROI, but just being able to look at it and say, oh, this is this is something that I can take to my boss and say, look, see, we got in front of so many people.
Right.
So
yeah. Without having to harass you for it.
Yep, exactly. And then I've got Linode renewed. So I had to email DigitalOcean and say, I know you weren't interested in, doing a sponsorship alongside Linode. So since, since they renewed, maybe you're interested in sponsoring my trip to one of these conferences.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll see how all of that goes.
You got to make it a nuclear arms race. You got to be like, it's like the car dealership thing. It's like, oh, Nissan put a car dealership here, so Toyota needs to put one here. Like, you got to tell them, like, hey, you guys, you definitely want to sponsor some episodes because otherwise Linode is going to get them.
Yeah.
Here, I can give you a 45-second spot.
Well, what I keep telling them is I'm like, look, as I get episodes scheduled, I'm putting them in, and Linode is buying by the quarter. So, if you go and buy some spots, after the end of March, but they don't want to buy them that far in advance. So, but yeah,
one other thing to consider would be setting up like letting them set up alerts when you list new shows or something like that. So you could
do that. I should do that this week or next week. So it's if episodes change on this list, let me know.
Mm-hmm. Or I mean, you could also just opt them into that. I mean, if you're sending any kind of automated emails already, you might want to do that. Just like
I'm not doing a ton of that. I need to add that in because I think that honestly is what's going to sell the sponsorships as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Is that automated check-in, right?
Yep.
So Yeah, what I may do is I may just email them and say, and it'll say something to the effect of, I'm going to start sending you these emails about, upcoming episodes as things change, and then, essentially, if you don't want these, then click here to opt out or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would opt them in because you're not going to send a lot, right? And they're relevant. It's relevant stuff. So
what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to have a system that builds a batch that goes out like every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that's changed on Ruby Rogues, it'll say, here are the changes to the Ruby Rogues schedule.
Right.
These are the episodes you're sponsoring that have changed, and these are the episodes that you're not sponsoring that have changed. Do you want to pick up any of these other episodes?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is that in the system right now, I have 2 sponsors that I've added to the system and invited. No, more than that. I have like 5 sponsors that I've added to the system that I've invited that have either sponsored in the past or are current sponsors that just haven't gotten in.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing that I think I'm going to push on there is it's going to say, if you want to opt out, then you need to go and, use your invite to get into the system and tell it you don't want it.
Oh, okay.
And that'll incentivize them to log in and, take control of their account.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Actually, you know what I was thinking? Basically just, like encouraging people, anybody that you have contact with, like just get them to sign up for the system and get them in there so they start getting alerts.
Yep.
And then even if they're not buyers yet, that would be pretty sweet.
Yep. But as far as anything else goes, so this person that I hired from, let's see, this person that I hired in Jamaica,
mm-hmm.
Michelle, she's got me now booked out for all of the shows except for 2, like all the way through January.
Oh, nice.
A couple of these shows are all the way into February, like Ruby Rogues or JavaScript Jabber has 3 episodes scheduled in February. So only the last week in February is open. Adventures in Angular has 2 shows in February. Ruby Rogues has 2 shows in February. And January is pretty much completely booked out for those shows. And she also, like, I know what episodes are coming out all the way into like May for my JavaScript story, and she's lining up everything else now for my Angular story and my Ruby story. And once she has that all handled, my plan is actually to just basically tell her, look, if we're not booked out 10 weeks on any show, then you got to go invite people. Otherwise, you're going to work on some of this other stuff. But
that's a good plan. Yep.
I'm super happy with that. And then I hired another person, Dee, and she's taking on the social media aspect of the shows. And so she provided me with a full-on social media plan. I've got her working in Hootsuite. And then I just said, look, here are the places I usually go to get news on these different, on JavaScript, on Ruby, on Angular. And so essentially what she's going to do is she's going to send me a plan for the week for the social media, like when all these things get posted. And I just approve it, and then they just automatically get sent at the right time on each account.
Nice.
And so I have really minimal involvement, but it does give me the chance, since she's not an expert in Angular or Ruby or JavaScript or React or whatever, it gives me a chance to look at them and go, you know what, that one's not, that one's not great, but these other ones are good or whatever. So the whole machine is working.
That's awesome. So for the social media, the only thing I'd say there is to just think, and you may have already done this, but think what are the metrics you're going to use to measure the success of that?
Yeah, I do need to come up with that.
Because social media people love all kinds of squishy metrics. So
yeah,
just make sure that, like probably for you, it's show growth or at least traffic to the website. Because I imagine mostly she's going to be sharing a lot of stuff she's going to be sharing will be stuff from your website. So you should have some kind of target in mind for that and maybe email signups or something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I mean, she's mostly so she's basically a VA that tends to work with podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not a social media genius. But yeah, I think that's going to be the metric that I'm pushing her way is basically show growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her I wanted to start with social media, and then I basically just let her figure out what we needed to do. So she did a bunch of research, came back, said, "This is what the recommendations are. Here's the plan." And so I approved the plan, and now it's just approving the content, periodically. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Is this next year? I really want to explode the podcast growth. And the more and more I talk to people about React, I recorded the video for the React Indiegogo. The more I talk to people about React, the more I'm thinking the React podcast is probably going to give JavaScript Jabber a good run for its money.
That's good.
Nice.
Got to get rolling on that.
Yeah, I'm going to get it up today. That's the other thing. So I've been doing the follow-up with sponsors. So last week I emailed them and said, hey, look, here's the new system. Go see what episodes we have available. These are the shows you've said you're interested in. Here are some of the upcoming episodes that have openings. And then this week I said, I'm doing this other thing with the conferences. Here are some of the conferences that I'm looking to get to and have sponsorship on. And then so next week I'm going to send the email out and say, if you've been holding off because you want to get a deal on a particular audience or a particular reach, then I set up these Indiegogos and I have sponsorship support levels for those. And just basically say, the React podcast, it looks like is going to, it's going to really take off. Most of the JavaScript Jabber audience is interested in it, which means that I'm probably going to kick it off with a listenership of 10K plus. And the other shows that I have that are around 10K, they go for this much per episode, and you're going to get a deal for, half that or less if you support the Indiegogo.
Nice.
And yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all if I wind up booking out a year's worth of sponsorship that way, just in Indiegogo support. And then I can start pushing those buttons and pulling things together. So
nice. Well, I hope this works. I hope this Indiegogo thing works out, because that's a great engine. I mean, you can just, that's the machine, you can just crank that.
Yep. Well, and I can just go out and tell people. I can be like, I can go push it on the JavaScript forums. I can talk to Peter Cooper and get it in his JavaScript and React newsletters. Go put it on Reddit and a whole bunch of other places. And honestly, they are hot enough topics to where people are going to go out there and go, yeah, we want something like this. And I've gone and done research. And the reason that people are asking me for this is because they know that, I've talked about being interested in pulling it together, and there's nothing else out there. There are a couple other shows on React that release sporadically, maybe once or twice a month. The same thing with Elixir. There are basically no podcasts on Vue because it's still a little bit early. But I've got a couple of core team members that are interested in possibly being on the panel, and it's gaining momentum like freaking crazy. And so, I mean, it is the perfect time to hit some of these audiences.
Yep, definitely.
And then the same thing with like AI and machine learning. It's a little bit early in the cycle, but again, most of the podcasts out there that are talking about it are talking about it from the consumer level and not the technical person programmer level. And so if we can hit that every week and bring somebody in who's working on an interesting project, or bring somebody in who can help explain one of the algorithms or some of the techniques, I think we can nail it. And so I honestly see just explosive growth coming over the next year or two. And the other thing is that I find that as I bring in new audiences, the cross-pollination helps a ton, both in bolstering the audience initially and getting me into like new and noteworthy on iTunes, as well as coming the other way, right? They start sharing with their colleagues. Those folks come in and they go, oh, well, I do a bunch of JavaScript stuff or Ruby stuff or whatever too. And yeah. So I think all around is just going to pay off in a big way. But that's the plan this next year.
It's so cool. I say this every time you do this, every time you talk about this, but I'm honestly really excited about this. And because it's very cool. This is what happens when you start to get all the pieces of what, of when you're kind of like your USP, your unique selling proposition, like yours, the pieces are all starting to come together.
Yeah.
And you can just see the, the exponential growth curve happening. You just look, just over the horizon, and it's
exactly you're gonna wake up and be a $3 million business, you know what I mean, and it's gonna happen quickly. Like that's because once the snowball is rolling now, and it's gonna be like Josh said, it's gonna be that exponential growth. This has that potential. So
yeah, well, the other thing is that I just have to keep doing what I know I need to be doing and not self-sabotage. The other thing that I'm finding, though, is that I'm finding new ways to delegate stuff. And honestly, I think some of this stuff is going to wind up, some of the stuff that I feel like I have to do because I don't have a good way to delegate it. I think a lot of that is going to fall off my plate over the next month or two. And I think things are going to be looking really, really good that way. So, but I think you're right. I think, honestly, the big factor here is just to stick to the plan and then just not to screw it up by self-sabotaging by giving up on stuff or thinking that I'm okay, but by pushing forward. But the other interesting thing is that it's funny because over this last week I've been thinking about just what is success for me, right? What does it mean to win, right? And it's not just, oh, I paid all the bills this month. Because that's kind of been the bar so far. It's embarrassing to say it, but it's true. And I was thinking about it, and I've been doing Profit First. You mentioned it last week, John, that you read the book. One of the things that he mentions that you can do to modify it is to have that drip account. And I've talked about this on the show before, so I'm not going to talk too much about it.
Oh yeah.
But I realized that for the drip account, honestly, what I need to do is I need to have a drip account that has like 8 to 10 months of expenses in it. Is what it is. That's success, because then it's not, well, oh crap, I paid all the bills for last month and now I don't know where the bills for this month are going to get covered from, right? Success is I have all these options to move ahead. I'm not worried about paying any of the people that are helping me do this stuff, and I can run and run and run and make this work, and I've got plenty of runway to figure it out. And so, so I set that target number at $200,000 in that drip account, and I'm going to get there. Of course, I've also decided that every $50,000 mark, I get to spend a few $100s on something I want. So like a Nintendo Switch or some other toy, just because it's like, hey, look, I'm winning. 50,000, I'm winning. Which covers 50,000 cover me for like 2.5, 3 months. 100,000, okay, I could go do something else that's nice. But yeah, just getting there. And so that's my barometer for success now. And it's funny because as soon as I kind of made that realization and it kind of sunk in, okay, $200,000 is success. I realized that I totally can do it. And that, it's not this, oh, well, I've only been able to make ends meet up till now. No, it just totally reset that thermostat for me, and I can run ahead from it and go, look, I got this. And so I've got all these ideas. I'm pushing stuff off to these other folks so that I can really just light all this stuff up. And dang, I think we're just going to nail it hard. But anyway, that's been my week. And I turned 38 this week.
Nice, congratulations!
All right, happy birthday.
Yeah, yesterday. I'm so old now. So how are things over there? How's the traffic, John?
The traffic? What do you mean the traffic? Oh, on the car. I thought you meant on the site. The software developer gift post traffic is like 1,000 hits a day, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let Josh talk about it since more preoccupied. But we did another affiliate launch. Yeah, and we've been doing our new guys been doing the SEO. So
Yeah. So Mitch. So we have been working with Mitch for like the last week or so on. I've been trying to get him. So SEO is one of those things where I personally I know I would really enjoy it if I had the time to dig into it.
Right.
And so I've been trying to kind of work. I've been poking Mitch to try to see if I'm hoping that he'll like just fall in love with it and dig into it, because he doesn't really have a marketing skill right now. So I'm hoping that he'll dig into the SEO and just really become an expert. And it seems like he's going for it. Like so what we had him. So John had him work on. We have that every year we do a software developer gifts post.
Right.
And I don't remember how much of this I talked about last week. So if I might end up repeating myself. But so we basically took, because we'd had like multiple years worth of this. So John's been doing this for like at least 3 or 4 years. And so we took all of those posts and we combined them into one. It's actually a page now on the site, not a post. So it has a URL, permanent URL. And this is something that we learned at Traffic and Conversion. They talked about this idea of a redwood post, which is, it's like one of the core blog posts on your site. And the idea with a redwood tree is that it just grows and grows basically forever. Right. They pretty much live forever, like 1,000 years or several thousand years. And they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So Google loves if you have these pillar posts that just keep adding to them and curating them and, deleting old outdated information and adding new stuff. And so one of the posts that we wanted to do this to was this gifts post. So we took all the years worth of blog posts, combined them all into one gigantic page on the site, and then redirected all of the old URLs.
Oh, nice.
And so now we have.
Now the only caveat, the only thing I was gonna say is that right now we only have it for the new year. We got rid of all the old years on that post.
Did we?
So
we killed them.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if it doesn't seem to be hurting our rankings. So I don't know if it's worth like putting the old ones, because like its old gift idea is really, relevant. I don't know. So I'm kind of leaning towards, let's just keep this an updated version of like the most effective gift, all year round. But but I guess we'll see what happens. So we basically funneled all the traffic from those other years onto this one page. And then the other thing that we did was, so we did with Google, if you hook up Google Search Console to Google Analytics, so it's the old Google Webmaster Tools, you can get your Google Analytics to show you keyword data. Okay. So what we have now is we can go back and look for the past 90 days. We can go, okay, here's a page. Here are all the search terms that people are using to find this page. And then we can also see how many impressions we got. So like how many times did we show up in search versus how many times did we get clicked? Right. So what we could see was that we were ranking for gifts for programmers and gifts for software engineers. We were number 1 for gifts for software engineers, and we were number 8 or something for gifts for programmers. Well, gifts for programmers gets like 18 times more searches. Oh, wow. So we went back, and Mitch basically retitled the post Gifts for Programmers, and he did some other keyword optimization, and we're basically battling number 1 and number 2 now in the gifts for programmers. And our click-through rate went from like
I don't know, like 8 or 10, it might have been like 5 to 8% or something, all the way up to 50 to 55%. So we're showing up now, like we're getting way more visibility, way more impressions, and way more click-throughs. So the traffic on that post is just shot through the roof. And
Nice.
then Mitch has also been going through, and so we were getting all this traffic. John noticed that we were getting tons of clicks over to Amazon, because these are all Amazon.
Right.
Basically, it's like our books and then Amazon stuff. And we noticed that we were getting tons of clicks to Amazon, but not really very much revenue from that. And Mitch was like, well, maybe part of that's because like the first thing on our list is a MacBook Pro, and you're not really not many people are going to go buy a MacBook Pro from Amazon for like all this really expensive stuff. So then he added stocking stuffer ideas.
Oh, nice.
To the list. And now
that's awesome.
And then like and I think John, did we end up doing the dedicated, like we were going to do a special tracking code, like an Amazon tracking code just for this page, so we
did,
yeah, so we can actually measure the exact revenue this page is generating, and see what people are buying, and we can add stuff to the list. If we see a bunch of people are buying a particular item that seems relevant, we can add that, which should improve the click-through and actual conversion rates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got this pretty cool little feedback loop going now, where we can, like, Mitch can see what Google's doing, tweak the page, see what Google's doing to increase the traffic, and then also see what's happening over on Amazon, and continue to improve the page. So I mean, like, I think this page alone has the potential to pay Mitch's salary this month.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's been really fun. He seems like he's really going for it.
The conversion rate on that page now for Amazon with those tracking codes is around 16%, I think, this morning when I checked.
Ow.
Now,
Wow.
Unfortunately, yesterday that only amounted to, I think, somewhere between $15 and $20 worth of commissions. But, it depends on.
Well, the thing about that, though, is that with Amazon, if you have, like, when you get enough, your commission rates are based partially off of the number of items you sell, and you can keep getting bumped up. So like if you go from 1,000 sales to 2,000 sales, they actually increase your commissions, and that's all retroactive. So when you either
not anymore, I think.
Oh, did they change that?
I think they eliminated that. I think so. I think it's just flat commission now.
Okay.
I couldn't find any. Like, I remember there was this big uproar about Amazon changing the commission structures on things.
Okay.
And I never followed exactly what it was, but I was looking the other day to find that chart, because it used to show you on the reporting pages like, oh, you need so many orders, and you'll go up to the next thing. So I can't find that anywhere. So I'm assuming that it's gone. So that kind of sucks, but
well, okay, well, never mind then. But
but still, even if you have one page on the site that's generating, even if it generates $20, $15-20 a day, that's good. I mean, one page on the site to generate $15-20 a day, right? That's what is that, 200, like $600 a month. So that's that's money. So
yep. So so that's been super cool. And then Mitch is also doing this with a bunch of other pages. Like he's been we've got some other we basically just looked at a lot of the high volume keywords in Google Analytics, where we're getting lots of searches, and we're maybe showing up at the bottom of page 1, number 8, 9, 10, or maybe on page 2, but we're getting huge amount of search volume. And we can tweak those pages and push up. So he's got us, he bumped, I don't know, he's probably working on about at least 10 different posts right now. And it seems like he keeps sending us these update videos with like the increase in the rankings. And so it's been a lot of fun to watch him dig into that. But where with Google, where I think it's really powerful is the ability to see what you're already coming up in searches for, and then seeing how you can optimize the pages for that.
Yeah.
Versus
And
just
the cool
yeah.
thing is, because we're such a big dog, right?
Mhm.
Because we have such a high page ranking, we can pretty much make anything rank in the top spots in Google, right? It's like
Yeah.
we've got a big stick.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool to have that big stick because it's like, yeah, if you write a post, like if we want to rank for a search term, we pretty much dominate that as long as it's somehow programming or coding related. Like
Mhm.
that's because we're one of the bigger sites. So it's really effective what he's able to do. Make a couple of tweaks and we go from 7 to 4 or 3, and sometimes 1.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, so I've been really enjoying watching that happen, and then we did another affiliate promotion. So we were gonna do the book launch, the audiobook launch this week,
Uh-huh.
and then we submitted the audiobook, and they replied, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll get to this in 10 to 14 business days.
I remember you said that last week.
Yeah, like what? So we were gonna have this dead spot in our, where we weren't going to do any promotions. So I was like, all right, well, what the heck? So we worked with Manny. So Manny Vella, I think is how you say his name. He's somebody. I met him at Traffic and Conversion, or no, I met him at I think it was Traffic and Conversion.
yeah, the traffic
Last
conversion.
year.
Yeah, I remember being cold.
Yeah, he lives in San Diego and runs with John and stuff. So he has these book summaries, and he records. He reads like a book a day, and then he summarizes the books in about a 10-minute video.
Uh-huh.
And he packages them up. So we had this. He has like productivity bundle. He's got one on mental toughness, and so we were like, we decided to like last Friday or something. I decided, why don't we just do another affiliate promotion? And so we picked the productivity bundle. Man, I am not doing this again where I end up writing the emails in real time. Like it was kind of stressful. Well, I was thinking on Tuesday, so I'd planned the affiliate promotion for Wednesday and Thursday. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna buckle down and I'm gonna try to write all these emails on Tuesday. 5 emails. Well, I forgot that writing the first email, which usually ends up being anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 words, and it's basically the core pitch. It's almost like a mini sales page.
Uh-huh.
Offer. That freaking took me all day on Tuesday. It was really painful. It was like pulling my fingernails out with pliers. It was just it was just a real pain. So yeah, so then I ended up in a situation where I had Tuesdays. So on Tuesday I got Wednesday morning email written. I needed Wednesday afternoon, and then Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. So I was pretty much like writing them and sending them out like almost in real time. And I'm not doing that again. I'm gonna try to be worked ahead, like work the week ahead, so I don't have to. Because it's like I did well this time. I didn't really make any mistakes. I had a mix up with the affiliate link that was not. It wasn't really a mistake. It was just misunderstanding something. But yeah, so I got lucky this time. It didn't screw anything up too bad. But when you're moving that close to the wire, you're kind of tempting fate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it ended up going. It went really well. So I've been surprised how receptive the list has been to these offers. Like, because we just did one. We just did a pretty heavy Pluralsight promotion 2 weeks ago, and then before, like 2 weeks before that, we did an interview cake.
Uh-huh.
And we don't get any complaints. Like I ran through and I did an analysis this morning where I took a look at all the numbers, and I sent it over to John, but it was basically like pulling it up here. So I sent 5 emails. Okay.
I'm going to drop off. The traffic's getting kind of bad. So.
Okay, cool. See you.
All right.
All right. See you guys. Yep.
Bye.
Yeah, John's going on some kind of cruise. But yeah, so we sent out 5 emails in 2 days to 45,000 subscribers, and I got 283 unsubscribes total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the unsubscribe rate for the whole campaign was 0.62%. So it was like less. So it was like 0.1% per email.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then 5% of the people overall across the campaign, 5% of the people who got the emails clicked on at least one of the links that I sent out.
Uh-huh.
And then we ended up making about just a little under about 0.9% conversion. So like almost 1% of people that got the emails bought something.
Dang. I wish I were getting those numbers.
No. So yeah, so it's, people really seem to be enjoying this. So we're just going to keep going with it. I'm trying to figure out the best way to evaluate, find the sweet spot. So with this one, I think I screwed up a little bit. I think I picked a price point that was lower on purpose. So we'd done Interview Cake, which was $99.
Right.
We did Pluralsight, which was $199. So I thought, all right, well, let's try a lower price point. So I said $29. So Manny usually sells this for $69.
Right.
And we were going to offer it for $29. And so for that to work, for the lower price point to make sense, you have to really, really increase your overall number of sales. Like you need twice as many or more for the lower price point to work. And we basically got about the same number of sales for that as we did for Interview Cake. So the lower price point did not attract a lot of new buyers.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think in the future, I'll probably keep the price like between $50 and $100. I feel like that's probably the sweet spot. And Manny has more bundles that we could have sold. So we could have like put two of them together and done a $49 deal. I think that would have been better, but live and learn. So, yeah, I'm basically going to probably do 10 or 20 of these things and just collect, data on how many sales we make and try to figure out. I think the way I think the most effective way to track the results will be looking at the revenue per subscriber. Interview Cake was like we made 34 cents per subscriber, and then this one it was more like 12, I think. So significantly lower.
Now, are you putting these into the Plinko machine that we talked about many, many moons ago?
Not yet, but I plan to. Or probably. So what we're thinking long term is that we don't want to. It's fine doing these for now. They're not passive, so they kind of go against our goal there of making a lot of this more passive. But what I can do is I can do 10 or 20 of them, and then I can pick the ones that were the best. So, the highest, however we measure that, like whether it's dollar value or, dollars per subscriber or whatever. And then we can make those evergreen.
Yeah.
And then basically and maybe I think I probably won't put them into the Plinko machine. I've actually simplified the Plinko machine quite a bit because we had a bunch of, we had taken some of our sales. So every time I was doing a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale or something, I would take the emails, put them into a automated campaign, and then we would just drop people into that. Like after 90 days, they'd go into a sales sequence, and after 180 days, they'd go into another one. And it wasn't working for whatever reason. We measured it, and it was like they weren't effective. It's like doing the sales to the whole list at once somehow was more effective than just doing them on a rolling basis. And I don't know if it's maybe just because Cyber Monday, maybe there's some times of the year that we were naturally doing sales where people are more receptive to them or something. But it was we ran I think one of the sales we ran 30 or 50,000 people through it, and it generated like a couple $1,000. It was really bad. It was really, really bad. So, yeah, so we quit doing that. So what I'm gonna do though is build like a semi-automated thing where I have some control of the timing of when stuff gets kicked off. So it's not like we have people just kind of rolling through it every day, but you know, I can put a batch of people into this thing, and it's semi-automated, and so basically I just control the timing of it. I kick it off manually, and then the rest of it's automated. And so we'll do 10 or 20 of these, see which ones we think people like the best, and then go from there. So we learned that this was interesting. So we tried an experiment where we split the list into A/B segments, and we tested offering a bonus versus not offering a bonus. So so for the bonus, we basically said John was going to do a video with like since it was a productivity bundle, he was going to do a video with some of his top productivity tips and principles and tools.
Right.
And so we tested that, and it made like zero difference. So that's good to know. We don't have to do a bonus. We don't have to do a bonus every time. I think bonuses can help, but I think you have to the bonus almost has to be as good or better than the product.
Well, I think there's that, and then the other thing is that I don't know that people are looking at John and saying productivity, right? They're looking at him for some of these other things.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're selling them, hey, John's going to talk about the thing that you associate with John, I think it's going to be a different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd go for that bonus.
Well, the plural site, I think you're right. Like so my two takeaways were that just kind of throwing a bonus together doesn't really do anything. The bonus has to be, I think if we had a productivity course that we sold normally for $300.
Right.
And we offered that for free, I think that would have killed it. Just because it has a real value, it's like, it's out there. It's something that people could buy for a fixed price. Yeah. And then the other thing was I think the bonus, if it's not like that, it has to be really on point and on message. Like I think the bonus we did for Pluralsight, which was John teaching how to use Pluralsight without getting overwhelmed, really, really hits the same pain point as the 10 steps to learn anything quickly course.
Right.
And people like that one, I think really drove a lot of sales for us.
Right.
But I think like the bonuses are pretty hit or miss if you don't have a really strong hook like that. And because people were really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too, where it's, hey, I'm going to show you how to take advantage of the thing you're buying. Or like if I were selling interview cake, I could put some of the videos from my course on there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because then it ties directly into what people are actually in it for. And it's like, oh, okay, so I could use the research video or the resumes video. Mm-hmm. And then, when I get the interview, then I can go do the interview cake thing.
I think, it also has to be, like in that case, you'd need to pick a video, like you'd have to get it right in terms of what pain points you were addressing with the bonus. So just picking some of your videos from your course probably wouldn't be that much, but if you nailed like the number one pain point, if you know what that is already, and you pull out that piece, then I think you can that can actually drive a lot of things. But so that was nice actually, because now we don't have to we know that we can do this without completely going crazy and having to do all these bonuses every single time. Like we can do them sometimes, but I don't think that we got pretty darn good results without it. So I was happy. I was actually kind of happy about that. The other thing that was interesting we tried was So John interviewed Manny for his YouTube channel, and then we tried sending that interview out to the email list. And we discovered that the way John puts it is there's YouTubers and there's non-YouTubers. And like everybody's always like video, you got to do video, and like a lot of people put video in emails.
Right.
And for our specific list, almost nobody watched the interview. Like, almost nobody. What did seem to work was John did a video. Actually, we made a bunch of sales from YouTube, directly from YouTube. So John did this video where he basically just showed what Manny was selling, he pulled up the sales page and just talked through the whole thing and like, okay, I've read this book, here's why this is so cool. And that we made like more than 100 sales from that one video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I was able to send a short teaser email pitching that video, and that made some sales. So I was able to get, but it wasn't like go watch this video. It was more like, it was almost more of a blind. I made it almost more blind. It was like, hey, here's a really cool productivity tip link.
Right.
And I mean, it was a YouTube link, but it was I actually got a really high click-through rate on the email. It was like over 3%. It'll probably end up being close to 4%. So that seemed to work, doing like more of a blind teaser. But if I pitched it as like, as more of like a video, or more like this is a really good video, people just weren't interested at all. So,
right.
So that's also nice. So we now know we don't have to do a lot of complicated interviews.
Yeah.
So,
what worked. Yeah.
Yeah. So we tested some more complicated stuff this time. It didn't really help. So we know we don't have to do it.
Yay.
Yeah. So now I just have to write emails and not do it real time.
Yep.
But,
yeah, I should probably get that into the pipeline next, is just planning out, because I've got the podcast content planned out. So yeah, just planning out email content and blog content and, YouTube content and any other content that I'm looking at putting together.
The other thing you might want to do, so we're going to do this in the new year, is, and maybe you can just see how it works for us, but the giveaways, getting giveaways going.
Yeah.
And for you, like, I think your core, like, if I were in your shoes, what I would be doing would be focusing on growing the audience.
Yes.
And so versus like, I mean, the affiliate stuff that I'm doing is great. And it's generating some revenue for us. Like, I mean, we've generated, let me think real quick, probably over 50, well, yeah, somewhere between 50 and 75,000 in the last 2 months with it. So it's been pretty awesome. But in your case, like, focusing on just doing giveaways, because the email list growth will drive your podcast growth, which is what you really care about. But yeah, I'm going to do another Sublime giveaway early in 2018, and I'm curious to see if it actually still works because of the social media changes that have happened since the last time I did it.
Right.
And if it does, we're probably going to do one a month for Simple Programmer. So I surveyed our audience and found out that tons of people are buying IntelliJ. Yeah. And so we're going to do an IntelliJ giveaway, which will be great because it'll attract lots of probably Java developers, which they're like some of our best customers. So, yes, I mean, that would be, you could probably grow we're hoping to get several thousand signups a month out of those. So you could probably I imagine you could probably do 500 or 1,000 or more new subscribers every month if you did that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, the other thing is I could drive. So I could do giveaways on just getting on the list. I could also do giveaways on leaving reviews on iTunes, or I mean, all kinds of things that sort of help raise the profile of the show or shows.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, lots of fun.
Cool.
So, any thoughts for the week? We're about that time.
Yeah, we are. Well, and there's the other Entre Programmers group. We're mixing it up, and I was going to try and hop on their call.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, for me, mostly, if there's a way I could just sum up this year, because I know we're kind of coming around to the close of the year. I mean, a lot of it has just been, do the stuff you need to do, like selling sponsorships in my case, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I kind of slacked off on that, I paid for it. And then the other thing is that the more systems you can put into place to solve a lot of these things, the better off you are. And so, I mean, just those are the two big things that I've really learned this year. And now that I have the systems kind of clicking along, I mean, things are looking a ton better here, and I'm overall pretty excited about the options that I have. So yeah, so that's kind of the thrust of what I've learned this year.
Nice.
How about you?
I haven't thought about it at the year level yet.
Well, that's fine. Just give a thought from this week.
You're ahead of me. I mean, I think definitely I this week really relearned the importance of margins and buffers. And some people really thrive under pressure. I tend to do best under like very moderate pressure. Some people like need like, gun to the head type of urgency before they'll get anything done. Some people can't function at all with that, with any kind of deadline pressure. I'm in the middle where I need some deadline, but I need enough cushion to where I'm confident
Right.
that I can get this all done. And like when that starts to get squeezed, I work slower when I'm feeling that kind of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it took me so long to write that first email this time, and why, just why the week was generally so stressful for me was because, it was literally, I mean, I ended up, there were a couple emails that I wanted to send out that ended up going out an hour later, which isn't a huge deal, but, it was like I had things that tight, and that's really not, for me, that's really not how I'm most productive. So I definitely need some deadlines, but I need a little bit more cushion in there to just so I can relax and things just go faster that way.
Yep.
So I think that's measured. That's one thing in the Colby test is like one of those personality tests, and they measure you. You did? Okay. Yeah. They measure you on like your working style, and I think quick starts do really well under that really intense, like gun to the head type of pressure, and that's not me. So
I'm curious now what your Colby.
Yeah, I took it a while back, and I haven't looked at it. I need to go through. I printed out the report, and I've been wanting to go through that thing and like read the whole thing, because those assessments are always really valuable, I find.
Yeah.
Like if you take the time to go through it, you're gonna find some really good insights about, your strengths and your weaknesses, and just, there will be, anytime marketing DNA was that Perry Marshall did is the same way. It's like if you take the test, go through it, you're gonna get some insights out of it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly what my results said. I mean, it wasn't that surprising. And what's funny is I had seen a Colby profile that was the sort of traditional entrepreneur, and I pretty much 100% nailed that. It was really funny.
You're probably I imagine you're probably higher on Quick Start.
Yeah, I was 8 on Quick Start.
Okay. Let me see if I can find mine real quick.
I was a 3 on Fact Finder, a 3 on Follow Through, and a 6 on Implementation, and an 8 on Quick Start. So
I think I'm pretty low. I think I'm pretty low on Quick Start. higher follow through. So it's kind of interesting because I have this entrepreneurial streak, but I actually don't like starting things. I think I've talked about this before. Like I hate the grind. Like I don't think I could build Simple Programmer the way that John did.
Right.
I don't think I could do it. I like to come into things that already have momentum, and I'm more of an accelerator than a starter. So
yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that would be something I highly recommend for people to, if you in the new year, maybe when you're planning things out, take one or two of these assessments. Colby's really good. Marketing DNA is really good. The Myers-Briggs is pretty good. And there you'll spend some time. I find that the score itself is a little bit helpful, but usually the reports that they give you, they'll give you like a 30-page report to read through. And if you really take the time to go through that, you'll find you'll realize some things about yourself.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I just got on Slack and I noticed that we were supposed to have Rick on the call with us.
Oh no.
I'm like, sorry, man.
Oh, maybe we can have him on next week.
Yeah, maybe.
Goof.
Yeah. I feel ever so slightly guilty. But I don't feel super guilty because I didn't know that it was my job to get him on. So anyway.
Nice.
Maybe he sent you a message too.
He may have. Let me look. No, I did not get a message.
Yeah.
So I will lay it all at your feet, Chuck.
All right. It's all my fault. Anyway.
All right. See you next week.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the Untitled Programmers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.